Hello again, and welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Rural Report. I am your Rural 2IC, and let's have a little discussion today. And one of the things that I want to talk about is what you see in the title is going to be reputation. Now, this is kind of going to go a little bit hand in hand with a video that we previously did on how to vet people. Because when you start going into making any sort of a relationship, whether it's just starting out or, you're got past that first initial stage, you still need to continue that vetting process. And so what that initially is it's building a reputation. Now, your reputation already started. From the moment you started getting a little bit of some character and personality as a young child, you started building a reputation. You can always get that to you're talking to a neighbor or something and you see a kid go down the street and they're like, oh, no, that's that troublemaker. You have no idea anything about that child, but there's already a reputation, okay? And so that's going to go into a lot of what you're doing now. If you're online and you're on, say, like a prepping thing on Facebook or something like that, and you're just constantly just hounding on people, somebody new comes in and they go, what's a ferro rod? Or, is boiling water the only way to purify it, make it drinkable? Instead of jumping in there like, hey, stupid, get with the program, you're building a reputation. And so if something comes along, you're going to be that one that everybody's like, whoa, you don't want that. That person's bad news. They're always negative. They've always got this know-it-all, I'm better than you attitude. And you're going to single yourself out, okay? Goes in the other way. Make sure you kind of get an idea. When you see other people doing it, it's okay to use that in your vetting process. So that way, maybe 2 weeks later, you're like, hey, I want to go to this event, just letting everybody know, if anybody wants to come. And then all of a sudden, here comes negative Nancy going, hey, I'm a half hour away. I'm going to come. Do we really want you there? Because I don't want you going around and making fun of people, putting people down and doing things like that. You've already ruined your reputation. Now, yes, you're going to have to give some people some leeway and some chances to try and patch up that. But again, it goes back to respect, and respect is earned, never just given away. And so it's going to take a lot. Once you break that trust and once you break that respect, it's a lot more effort to build it back up than it is to maintain it, which is why you need to be, pretty much on your best behavior all the time. I always say you can tell somebody the best way, okay? The best way to really vet somebody is to watch their actions when they think nobody is looking and listen to the words when they think that there's nobody around to listen to. That right there will tell you pretty much everything you need to know about somebody. Now, I want to get into a slightly different thing, and I waited a little bit into this video because I wanted to see how many people would kind of hang out with this. Now, if you watched any sort of, like a movie with law or, going to court or anything like that, a lot of them, their way that they go about things is they want to damage your credibility. They want to ruin your reputation. Now, that person may be completely innocent, but if they can march in there into that courtroom and start showing all these things that makes them look like a really bad person, the jury has a good chance of buying it and the lie will be sold. And so put your tinfoil hat on with me just for a minute. Now, this is just going to be an opinion on my piece, okay? Could be completely false, could be way out that I have no idea what I'm talking about. But I just want to say this and get you to think. If you have a belief, a notion, anything along those lines, that everything that's going on in the world right now is not just completely coincidence, that there's something, somebody, some group, some whatever that is kind of orchestrating a few things. What if it's not to trash everything? What if it's to tarnish reputation? Now, hear me out for a sec. If I want to do this, I'm going to go after major fields. And so I would do something health related and get everybody distrusting the healthcare system. I would go in and I would do a couple of different law sort of things so people stop believing in the court system and the justice systems. I would go in and place a few bad apple cops. People would stop trusting law enforcement. I would take and do a couple of things in politics, write some stupid laws and things. People would lose their faith in the government. Doesn't take much, okay? And we can go on and on about the education system and, whatever you want to insert here to get the point across. Instead of going in and doing all this stuff, if I only do a couple of things here and there, people will do the rest for me. Then, even if you just walk away, the damage has already been done. People don't trust it no more, okay? And so it's going to take so much time and so much effort and resources and everything else to build that trust back up. I mean, you are talking about some of these fields, it could be generations before people really start to trust them again. And so I just wanted to throw that out there and get you to think. Is it what's going on? I have no idea, but it's just a thought in my head and I wanted to share it with you. All right, let's go ahead and rein back in and jump back on point. So you don't want to go and lone wolf SHTF. We already discussed this. We go through it ad nauseum. You're going to have to eat. You're going to have to sleep. You cannot be on your guard 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It's not going to happen. You have to be 100% perfect for the rest of your life. And if that's your game plan, that rest of your life's probably not going to be very long anyway. So you're going to need some sort of group. Now, whether that's friends, whether that's family, whether it's coworkers, neighbors, whatever it is, the best thing to do is to formulate that now. You can be strategic with your choices now. And so that way, if something happens, in the event that something catastrophic happens, everybody comes together. There's already a plan in place. Everybody knows what their job and role and everything is. And so it's going to be that muscle memory. Boom, the little, light goes off, the little siren starts sounding, and instantly I know what to do. I know where to go. I know who to contact. I know what my job is. And you start executing. And that's what you want to do now. Otherwise, you're just going to shoot from the hip. And when everything goes south, you're going to get forced into a group. And that group's probably going to be a bunch of ragtag people. And you're going to be very lucky if you get, a handful of strategic people that you really, really need in order to survive. So the best way to do it is do it now. And when you do it now, now's the time that you can vet. Now's the time that you can start building that trust and building that relationship. Now is the time that you can start looking into somebody's reputation and build your reputation with them. Remember, this is a two-way street. And so just because you are out there vetting, just because you're looking at somebody's reputation and finding out if you can trust them, if you can respect them and all that, they're probably doing the same thing to you. And so you need to make sure you have that realization, because you might be doing something over here and they're over here watching. They're over here listening. And just because on the way that you do something that, over here with my buddy, I can talk and act and do a certain thing, but over here with somebody else's grandma, it's inappropriate. Well, the thing is, the people that's around you vetting, they are already putting everything in a list, and they're processing all this. And if you're over here talking really crude and making off-color jokes and doing all this other stuff, they may not agree with that 100%. And now I get it. I know I'm going to get a bunch of pushback on that one. You're going to take me how I am. Okay, well, if you come off, really brash and things like that, then I don't want a dictator in my group. You know, I want somebody that is teamwork. I want somebody that I can trust my people around me. If I'm going to take ownership and I'm going to quote unquote be the leader of the group, then I need to make sure that each and every person in my group, I trust completely that if I go off site, that the safety of everybody there is fine. Because if there's one person that I don't trust, I can't leave. And I've got to be able to have that option to leave. And therefore, they become more of a threat. And we don't deal with threats in the group, So you either got to work on it, build that trust up, and get them in there to where you can trust them, or you've got to go. I mean, it's the way it is. And I know that there's different types of people. I hate that whole saying where, I can do it, so can you. No, we're all different, okay? We all have the same abilities into a certain sense, and then it kind of stops. You got people that can hit a golf ball 300 yards or whatever. I don't know golf. Give that to somebody else, and you go, well, if they practice and trained, okay, yeah, maybe if they did practice and train, but the only thing is, though, is maybe they'll still never be able to do that. There's a lot into it that we all have the same opportunity and we can all do something to a certain extent, but maybe somebody has a better outcome. So if you look into the same example of the golf ball, pretty much everybody can hit that golf ball. Okay, that's kind of the main objective. Now, how far it goes, that's the measure of success on your skill, your talent, all that. Okay, and so I want to make sure I put that out there. But when it kind of comes into this, when we all tie this into the way that I want to bring everything kind of together, is I'm trying to figure out how I want to get this worded so it comes out correctly. And so you've got to make sure that when it's all strategically done, that when you find somebody, when you vet them out, when you build that relationship, when you build that trust, when you get it all the way down to the point that, you can turn your back, you can fall asleep, you can go off site, and you have that complete faith that everything's going to be fine, that everything's going to be taken care of, that they will do exactly what you would have that expectation to be. And so you've got to make sure that everybody in your group comes up with that, level of expectation that you have. Otherwise, people will start to become a liability. And if you constantly are in, a situation to where, it's heart rate's up and you're stressed out and things like that, you constantly want to be going into battle where you're going, you need to focus. And if I have to keep checking on all these people behind me that make sure they're doing the right thing, to make sure that they're safe, to make sure they're not doing something that they shouldn't be doing or putting me into danger, or who knows, maybe stabbing me in the back. Okay. That's where a lot of this comes into. Now, a tiny side note, I truly believe that you will never 100% know somebody. Now, the reason that I say that is that every single person is capable of a lie. Every single person is capable of doing something that you don't think that they would do. Okay. We see it a lot in the news and different other things. Somebody does something, they talk to some neighbor or whatever, and they're like, I never thought in a million years they would do something like that. Okay. We're capable of it. And so you've got to make sure that you have some level of guard up. But make sure that as you go through this week, self-assess. If somebody was looking at me, and think of it as like when you look at this, that somebody's looking for a member in their mag. Self-assess and see, like a job interview. if they were looking at me, if they were watching me, what would they come to the conclusion of? What skills do I have to offer? How do I sell those skills? Because I truly believe that your education in preparedness, okay, not necessarily the public education or government education, really, is going to be anything, significant other than the basics. You should be able to have, read, write, do some math, things like that. But I truly believe that the number one barter item during SHTF is going to be your knowledge and skill. Okay. I don't think it's going to be food. I don't think it's going to be water. I don't think it's going to be medical supplies. I think it's going to be the knowledge behind it. I think it's going to be people that understand how to be a first responder and how to triage and how to, assist somebody in a medical emergency. I think it's going to be people that know how to operate firearms, how to process game, how to cook, prepare, and preserve. Okay. Those all are technically free. Yeah, you need a couple of supplies or a couple of things like that. But, if you get into it, if you're talking about somebody's got a medical emergency and you have nothing, as long as you have the know-how and the knowledge and the skill, you can rip off a shirt and fashion something up and stop the bleed. You can. Is it optimal? No, not by any means. But you can do it. Same thing if you're going out hunting. Well, I can take a rock and make it slightly sharp and, fashion it to a stick and then create a spear. And, as long as I have some sort of knowledge, you can do a lot for free with what's around you. And so it's going to come into that. You could literally walk in with the clothes on your back into somebody else's group. And as long as you have the skill and the knowledge to be able to offer them something of substance and value, something that they really truly need, you will build that trust. You will gain a huge percentage in your reputation, and they will look at you and they will be extremely thankful, grateful. You could really mentor a lot of people. I mean, think about how much it is to go get a certification right now or to go get some sort of advanced job. The amount of time and money and resources and everything in order to gain that, think about what that is and the value of that when SHTF is down. You run into a group that they know how to gather some food, but they don't know how to preserve it. And for you to be able to teach them a skill that is going to be life-saving for them, think about what you could ask in return for that. Hey, I can keep you alive, for years and years, but I want something in return. Okay. So I hope the little bit of a tinfoil got a little bit of something. I hope that this opened your mind. I hope that you got a little bit of something out of this. But that's what I've got for you. So if you made it to this far in the video, guess what? You rock. I appreciate you. Thank you for spending a little bit of your time with me. Do all the fun YouTube things. You guys know what to do. And I hope you guys have a blessed rest of your day. Stay tuned because there's definitely more information to come. Say it with me now. Above all else, remember to remain united because we're all prepping in this together.